Hello everybody, it's Jack Armstrong the third again, and I thought maybe I would try to do somewhat of a tutorial. Many of you have heard me talk about painter's spackle, or just spackle. There are many different brands. This just happened to be the brand that I picked up, and it's great for filling seams. You know I use it, and when I say filling seams, I'm talking about seams or gaps that need no strength in the filler, because this stuff has absolutely no strength to it whatsoever. But once it dries, it's great for like small gaps in any type of modeling, especially figure modeling. So basic tools are, you have your spackling, you have a cup of water, and you have a subject that needs a gap filled. Now, I did a video on these guys for Joshua Swan's group build, and I'm still trying to film on my little phone, but here we have a very inexpensive, very soft bristled brush, and we have a second brush, which is also a very reasonably inexpensive brush that has lost its integrity. It's old and used. But anyway, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to pause this, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. That took all of 90 seconds, if it took that long. And you see, I've just used that beat up old brush and I smeared that spackling on there. And you don't have to be neat with this stuff. Like for example, right now it's still wet. Let me see if I can get my finger in here. I'm trying to do this myself with my phone. I will get a better camera and a tripod. That was one of my pledges to you. But you start smearing it down, smoothing it out. And the main thing is, don't worry about it getting on detail, because it's water soluble. There, I did. I smeared it down a little bit here. Well, as soon as I get it in the lens. All right, here is the old brush. Look, it's all over it. You just take it and you put it in your water, rinse it off. Clean, totally clean. Now while the brush is still wet, you don't have to wait for the spackling to dry. What I'm basically going to do is use this soaking wet with water brush and just start dragging it along. Try to get closer for you. Dragging it along the detail that I covered. And I'm going to rinse it off. And I didn't grab a paper towel. That's Delilah barking. She hears her. My dad's outside of his place with his dog, and she's barking and playing. Sorry about the noise. Delilah now. That's your Aunt Maggie. All right. So anyway, back to the tutorial. And like I said, you don't have to wait for this to dry. You just start smoothing it out. When it's not dry, you just simply have to be careful that you don't pull it out of the gap that you were filling. And again, the brush is out of the picture because I'm simply just rinsing that spackling off in water again. And now I'm going to take some off the arm of the figure because we don't need a tear. And you see it's real smeary, and when you add water to it, it's just it almost goes on like butter when you start putting water to it. And again, if you don't need strength in the gap that you're filling, this stuff is amazing. However, if you do need strength, you need to invest yourself I'm talking like a Pennsylvania redneck. You need to invest in some proper modeling putty for filler, whatever your favorite brand is. There are many out there. And again, we're going back. I'm going to try to get you closer. Sorry for the shakiness. Maybe YouTube will straighten it up for me. But again, I'm just simply smoothing it out. Now I'm going to pause this and I'm going to finish that up and show you. Okay, I'm back, and basically what I did was I used that very, very wet old brush to get the most of that spackling off there. And you can see it's out of the details now. And I could have left this dry completely. As you see, if you can see, I guess I should say, the color of the brand that I just happened to choose this time, when it's not dry, it's pink. When it's fully dry, it's stark white. But you can see it's all out of the detail now. And when that dries, it'll be stark white. And again, you want to let this completely dry before you prime it. I have primed over top of it before it was completely hardened and never had any issues. But I find that with anything else, if you let it completely harden or cure, you'll have better results. Now I'm simply going to take a dry brush, this brush right here, and you see I did get a paper towel or a kitchen towel, depending on what part of the world you're in, and dabbed the wetness off the figure. Some places where the wet spackling had gotten very wet and ran down into the seams, I just dabbed it off. It comes off just like as if it were water or butter. At least with butter, at least with this, instead of butter, we don't have to degrease it. But of course, we always wash our fingers. Our fingers. Yeah, we wash our fingers every day, but all day. But we wash our figures or our modeling subjects, especially resin. We scrub them down to get rid of the mold release residue. But again, let me see if I can do this while holding the phone and keep it fairly stable for you. Again, I apologize. I'm going to get a better camera, and I'm going to get a tripod so that I can do some live builds for you and generally just give you better quality videos. So I'm taking this brush. Now again, it is dry. It has not been touched in water. And I'm just going to paint that seam as if I were base coating it. Ever so delicately, just as if you were putting paint on the figure. You don't have to be extra careful. The only thing that you need to be aware of is that you're not pulling the spackling out of the seam. Now again, you can see that it's already starting to get super smooth. And I'm going to keep this brush very dry. And I just wipe the wet spackling off the brush onto my trousers, my blue jeans. How's you like them new designer jeans? Well, they's okay. But every time I passes gas, I blows off me tennis shoes. Anyway, back to the subject. And again, you just continue to paint that spackling as if you were base coating. And when you're done, it will be super smooth, just as if it were painted. Pause this and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, friends, I'm back. I timed myself, that took 3 minutes and 15 seconds to get it to this point. And when I bring it closer to you, you can see that it's already starting to cure or harden. It's turning white. And you can also see that I pulled the excess down into the folds of the clothing of his jacket, which is another great thing about this. I mean, it is carvable and sandable when it dries, but if you do it when it's wet, that extra stuff you put on there, if you saw when I smeared it with my finger, I just kind of smeared it down and up and away from the seam. You take your brush and you just guide that around, manipulate it, whatever, and it will end up falling right into the wrinkles of the clothing of the seam that you're filling on a figure. And once that's dry, it'll be primed. And since it's spackling is so fine, any reasonable quality primer is going to fill any imperfections in it in one simple coat. And that's my explanation. That's what I use for figures. Now again, like I said, and I hate to keep repeating myself, as I always do, but the long and short of it is, it's great for filling gaps in any type of model if there's no strength needed in the gap you're filling. If you need strength and durability to sand and carve and to fill a large gap, you need to use proper modeling putty. But for little things like this, little simple seam lines or gaps, whatever you want to call them, are so easily filled in a matter of, because of my babbling, we're at 12 minutes. So, but this took me a total of 7 minutes to get this figure ready for priming. All right, I hope this helped you. If you liked it, like it. Very cool. If you don't, that's cool. I was just sharing something that I've learned with you. Take care, guys.